Hey, what's going on? Using my story once again, it's me, Samuel. We're here with another great podcast with a very exciting guest. We're super humbled again, like we usually are when we have people come out. Go ahead and take a moment and introduce yourself, brother.
My name's Adam Quick, born and raised in Huntington Beach, Orange County, California, man.
HB. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So, Adam, like we were talking a little bit before the podcast, we use this forum to give hope, right? And help people have the understanding of normal dudes like me and you can make it out of the trench and be successful and chase a dream instead of chasing a bag. Why not?
Why not?
Right? So this is where we're going to talk about your story, and then I'll chime in a little bit. But let's just have you take it away, right? So you're being raised in Huntington Beach, so let's start there.
All right. Born in Huntington Beach Hospital in Orange County. Born in a middle-class family. My dad owned a few businesses in Huntington Beach, commercial construction company, landscape. Nice. He owned a restaurant down on Main Street in Huntington Beach. So I really grew up in kind of that surf skate, punk rock culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I loved it. I love the vibe down there. I still love the vibe down there.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm in that city, the air is better.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, I just... I enjoy it. I love it. I love the vibe. I love the atmosphere. I love the people. I love the locals. So grew up in that lifestyle. Started surfing at a young age. Skating at a young age. Family life. My parents divorced when I was really young, my mom and my dad. But they both remarried. I think I was 3 when my parents divorced. So that, little did I know, I figured it out later down the line that kind of started me on that path to ultimately, addiction and alcoholism. But going back and forth, half the week at my mom's, half the week at my dad's.
Yeah.
Both of them hated each other.
Yeah.
Both of them hated each other. Both of them said the worst shit you can imagine about each other at all times.
Yeah. So when you were going through that, did you have siblings?
Yes, I am the youngest of 2 brothers.
You're the baby.
Yeah, I'm the baby. I have one full brother, and then I have a half brother, but I never really saw him in my life because he was from my dad's previous marriage, and he came home one day, she was gone, she took off to the other side of the country with him. So I really didn't even meet him until I was in my teens.
Wow.
But we're in contact frequently now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was on the East Coast.
So we're going to talk about just a little bit, just touch on that subject about being in a family that is separated, mom and dad, remarried in that dynamic, right? And how parents, whether knowingly or unknowingly, that are divorced, tend to poison their own children.
Absolutely. With
the opinion of the significant other. And not understanding how detrimental it is to that child's upbringing, because then it places an opinion of your parent. But not only your parent, but like you figured out later on in life is like, that's just the way love is. That's just life.
Yeah.
Right? Is I'm going to talk crap about you and I'm going to live in this chaos. So how did you deal with that when you were growing up? Like, as they were pouring that into you and you were going back and forth, most kids will hear like, oh, you have 2 houses, you have 2 Christmases and 2 Thanksgivings and 2.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. But it's really not like that.
No, it's not.
And it's like understanding. So what can you tell to that young man or that young woman that may be in that position that you were at that point in time?
If you're going through that, I mean, obviously at the time, I didn't possess the emotional maturity to even realize kind of the damage that was being inflicted on me through the constant back and forth between both my parents and, what it was really doing to me mentally, emotionally. I unknowingly found outlets. At first it was skateboarding and surfing and doing that as much as I can. And then once I got a little bit older into like middle school and high school, it became sports.
Okay.
And that was my outlet. When things were crazy at home, I would walk to the park and, I would hit balls. I played baseball, I played football, I ran cross country, I ran track. I would go for runs. I would find one of the neighborhood kids or my brother. My brother was kind of a like video game computer guy, so like, so it was difficult for me to get him off the AOL, you know, at the time, or the PlayStation. But you know, we'd go throw the ball and stuff like that at the park, and when there were waves, I was surfing, or I would go skate, just anything to kind of escape.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and not knowing at the time that's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah,
was escaping,
trying to find a place of peace.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because my parents, my biological dad left. Well, my mom left him. I was her sober baby, so she got sober and she was pregnant with me.
That's right.
And then she got remarried.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, you know, he was never really around. But then I had my own situation with my stepfather.
Yeah,
great guy, had his issues, did the best he could.
Shit, my stepdad whooped my ass, man.
Yeah. See, it's just like, you know what I mean? So it's like having that, but the not understanding how to be a dad either, kind of affected my life. And it gave me like a goal later on in life when I got older and I became a dad of like, this is not the way I'm going to be. You know what I mean? So breaking that barrier and breaking that, what some would say like a generational curse or a generational culture.
Yeah.
Because as we get older and we're able to reflect and have that emotional maturity and look back at it and be like, okay, so this is where that standard came from.
Yeah.
And this is where that habit came from. And this is where that root happened. You know, so 80s and 90s were a great era.
Great era. Man.
Great era, dude. We had great music, video games, arcades. Stay outside past dark, not worry about being abducted.
Dude.
Right?
Run amok.
That's it.
I used to take my skateboard, dude, and just, hey, Dad, I'm going down the street. Mom, I'm going down the street. And I was gone.
You were gone.
Gone.
Right? Come home, ate dinner.
Yeah.
Went to bed.
Remember that commercial when we were younger? It would come on the TV and it would be like, do you know where your kids are at?
Yeah.
Like,
it would say, it's 6:00.
Yeah.
Do you know where your kid is? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, my parents didn't have no idea.
My parents were like outside.
Yeah, he's down the street. No, I was on the other side of Huntington Beach.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
But you know what? It was a different era. And it's like, you know, we can take this conversation so many ways right now.
Right.
But just focus on what was going on.
Yeah.
And we can come back and we could talk about the best generation ever.
Like that.
So it's like growing up and seeing that, right? And then having your siblings, one be taken away, and then thank God that you guys have reconnected and you guys have a solid relationship. And then your other sibling, was he around?
Yeah. My older brother, he was around. He dealt with things differently. He escaped through the video games and the computer. Once we got to a certain age, he like, I don't know. He handled things a lot differently than me. You know, I was more, like I said, running amok as much as I could with my friends, and he stayed inside a lot. And I really felt that the way we kind of moved through negative situations at that time of our life, what we were doing outside of that really kind of played a role in it.
Yeah.
I handled things a lot better. I really kind of always have.
Yeah.
And he would shut down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's my older brother, but he's smaller than me.
Yeah.
And my stepdad used to whoop on us like grown men. You know what I mean? Like grown men. And it would really fuck him up, man. You know what I mean? And me, I was like, all right, let's go in the garage. Let's handle this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we were always able to come together and talk, and I always tried to be there as much as I could, and I didn't realize that till later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I was, did some internal work, I was able to reflect back and know that I was, always there for him.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
You were there for him in one form or another,
Yeah.
to the best of your ability.
Always trying to get him to come out. Come on now, let's go skate.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I don't want to.
So in that time that you were out in Huntington Beach, young preteen, teenager, you're skating, you're surfing, your brother's playing video games, you're in this violent situation with your stepdad. Stepmom and dad, how was that relationship?
That was toxic as hell. My dad never put his hands on my stepmom, but it was a lot of screaming, a lot of yelling, a lot of name calling. From as early as I can remember, my dad, he also was an ex-biker, ex-junkie, ex-alcoholic. And for the most part, through most of my young life, he was sober. He'd smoke a little weed once in a while, but, he was sober. But then later on into my later teens, he started opening restaurants downtown Huntington. It's a bar scene. And he started drinking again. And when he started drinking again, my stepmom, she was also in sobriety and recovery, and she started drinking again with him, and it was just it was madness. Like I said, there was never any physical abuse. But like it was like
mental, emotional,
extreme level yelling and name calling and stuff like that.
So, no real safe haven for you as a young man.
No,
right? Outside of I'm in the waves and I'm on the half pipe and I'm chilling.
Yeah.
Right? Chilling with your boys and being out, right? Just being outside.
Yeah.
When somebody says I'm outside now, it means something different.
Yeah, totally different.
Right? But that was your escape. So at what point and what brought down the decision when you started dibbling and dabbling into other things outside of surfing and skating?
I remember the first time I smoked weed, I was pretty young. I have older cousins. I think I was 9 or 10 when I tried weed for the first time. I don't remember if I got high or not. I don't know what that felt like at that time. But it was always on my mom's side, who my mom had majority custody. We stayed with my mom mostly. They partied a lot, and not like hardcore drugs. We just had a lot of parties. You know what I mean? Like 4th of July was a banger. Any major holiday, we'd always go camping, and they would just drink their ass off. End up passing out by the fire or wherever they passed out. You know what I mean? And we just sneak in wine coolers and shit. You know what I mean, with my cousins, and kind of experiencing that for the first time.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the fact that it's similar. Right? Because we were the bartenders. And we would go around family, right? We'd be outside and bring me another beer. And go grab a beer and take one for yourself. And
take one for yourself.
Go back to the back with your cousins and be like, here, I got another one.
I got another one.
And go back again and get another one.
That's how it was.
And that's
on
crazy.
the side yard or up in the bedroom or whatever, you know what I mean? And find a way to stash the bottles or the cans.
So from those parties, you started smoking weed.
Weed really picked up around like 13, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when we got into that more.
When did you move on from weed to anything else?
So it was high school, right? In high school, my freshman year, I started to excel in sports. I lettered in 4 different sports as a freshman. Being the cool jock, I guess. I kind of really transitioned from like this surfer skater kid to like this, jock, I guess, right? And there's lots of house parties in those days in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
there's a lot of backyard boogies back in those days.
Like real ones. You don't see that shit no more. You know what I mean? And so, again, Fridays and Saturday nights, fucking, 100 cars out in front of a house, and someone's older brother got a couple kegs, and we're doing beer runs and stuff like that. And I really I tried all the party drugs. I don't want to say hardcore drugs, because in my opinion, hardcore drugs is the ones we kind of graduated to later on. But like all the party drugs, like the mushrooms and the acid and the ecstasy and stuff. We had Molly at that time, so. But I was doing all that stuff like on the weekends. You know what I mean? And smoking weed on the weekends and getting drunk on the weekends. But I was still in the frame of mind that like, hey, I might have a future in athletics. You know what I mean? So during the week, I got to focus.
All business.
Yeah, it's all business.
It's all business. Yeah. So now you're lettering in all these sports. You're the big guy. You're the guy on campus. Got all this going for you. Partying on the weekends. When did that transition happen into your DOC? And what brought that on?
So I really didn't get into, it was right after high school. Right after high school, I I kind of started to see older friends from Huntington, because my mom lived in Fountain Valley, so I went to Fountain Valley High School,
Okay.
right? And so when I was up there, it was all my friends in Fountain Valley, right? And all my friends from Huntington, they graduated to that lifestyle a lot sooner than I did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That surf, skate, punk rock culture. So they were all dabbling in that. So I remember right after high school that summer, I tried meth for the first time. You know, was hanging out. I went, oh, hey, let's go surfing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they're, you know, doing their thing. And tried that. Wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That next year, I ended up going to OCC. Oh, let me rewind, right? So by this point in my life, my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer.
Okay.
Right? And she had gone into remission a couple times. But by the time I was about, you know, right after high school, the cancer came back, and it was terminal. And so I had a few opportunities to go to some universities, you know what I mean, some state schools, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. You know, that'll be there. Obviously, I play sports, so it's like, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. I'm going to stay local and kind of ride it out with my mom.
Yeah.
And went to OCC and ended up getting hurt there. And through that injury, I found Norcos. And that kick-started everything on the opiates, because I'm a junkie by trade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kick-started everything.
So getting hurt kind of throws all hell into your front yard.
Yeah.
Right? Because there goes all the plans you had.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you were banking on.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with what's going on with your mom.
Yeah.
Trying to stay local. And then you start on these Norcos.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start abusing that.
Yeah. So those went fast, right? Like at first it was as prescribed, and then love the way they fucking made me feel, right? So those ran out. Obviously it was they gave me 2 prescriptions, right, for the pain, and then I couldn't get them no more.
Yeah. And
from there, I know you remember one of my buddies from Huntington was like, "Oh, you like painkillers?" He's like, "I got these things." I'm like, "Well, what are those?" Oxycontin, 80 milligram oxys. You know what I mean? And I was like, "Well, you just pop them?" He's like, "No, you smoke them, snort them." Yep. You know what I mean? And so I started smoking those.
Yeah.
And
how old were you?
19.
19.
And then shortly after that, I was selling weed and stuff, like, you know, bagging up grams and eighths and all that junk, and ended up getting pulled over for a stop sign in Huntington, and I had like a quarter pound of weed on me or something like that. Got busted for that, and my dad paid for me to go to rehab.
Yeah.
At that time. I went to a rehab in Costa Mesa, and my roommate, I had already smoked oxys a few times, and he was going down to Mexico once while we were in rehab. You know what I mean? He would drive down there in the morning. Oh, I'm going to work.
Yeah.
And he would drive down to Mexico, pick up a bunch of oxys, and then come back, back in time for group in the evening. And
dang.
And at that time, they didn't test for oxys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They didn't have tests. It was like the 5-panel test.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Opiates, THC, meth, coke.
Where are we at now? 14 panel? It's at a 14
Yeah,
panel
it's 14 panels now. So back then it was the 5. And he's like, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get in trouble. He's like, no, they don't come out on the test. And that was when I IV'd for the first time, was in rehab. And that was after that. I finished the rehab.
Yeah.
You know, I was slamming oxys the entire time, but I never tested dirty.
Yeah.
And that was
so you finished on a technicality.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I will say is IV use has always scared the hell out of me. Even my addiction. I was like, nah, I'm good. See, my DOC was meth.
Mm-hmm.
I went from the peanut butter to the crystal meth during that era.
Yeah.
And it was like all my friends were freaking just going at it, and I'm like, bro, like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. I was like, nah, because I seen
with the opiates
and like speedball in it.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, nah, like, I'm good. And there's like, you know, and then I would say out of the 5 that I knew, one's still alive, because they're all dead, and the path that they continue to go down, and the one that is still alive was the plug, was our connect. And he's like still my boy, but he's in recovery, and he's doing everything he needs to live a righteous life, right? We pay taxes and we show up to work on time.
Productive members of society.
We're productive members of society. So you finish rehab, you slam an oxy. What age are you at this time?
I was just before I had turned 20.
20.
Before I turned 20. And then my mom passed. After rehab, I was still messing with oxys, but I kind of had a little bit together.
Yeah.
My dad helped me get an apartment in downtown Huntington. I was working at PF Chang's down in Fashion Island, and I remember my brother and my aunt showing up to work one day, and I was on the line. I was the server. You know what I mean? I'm doing my thing, and then all of a sudden my manager like, "Hey, can I talk to you?" And they pull me in the back, and my brother and my aunt were there, and I already knew what time it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, "You got to come right now. Like, she's not going to last longer."
Yeah.
So went there. She ended up taking her last breath in my arms. You know what I mean? And it went all to shit after that.
Yeah.
Within a year, caught a case, caught a number, went down the whole path of, affiliated and all that shit and being a member. And it's, that kickstarted everything.
Yeah.
Kickstarted everything.
So when you lost your mom, that just opened up the floodgates for you. It was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And caught your case, caught your number, started doing time, started walking down that path and all that comes along with that. And then did you stay incarcerated for a really long time, or what did that look like for you?
So the first term was a residential burglary. So I took the strike on that, and then I believe I did. I did 2 years on that one. And then I mean, it was, I went in there and met some of the older homeboys.
Yeah.
They call it the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. There's nothing rehabilitation.
They recently changed that. It was not that long ago.
Again? Because I remember it was DOC. It was Department of Corrections.
It was DOC, then it was CDC.
Yeah.
And then it went to CDCR.
Yeah.
So I think CDCR was like in the last 10 years. But I remember when it was CDC. And I remember when we had the Levi's and the Blues, and we had the, Dickie shirts and going to visit, looking all crispy, right? Thinking we're showing up and showing out, but we were locked up.
Put your shirt under the mat.
Yeah, there you go. With some floor wax.
Yep.
Got the comb out, hitting the creases.
Hell yeah.
So while you're doing time, are you using while you're in?
On my first term, I met one of my older homeboys at Wasco, and he was kind of like one of the straighter guys in the family, right? And he told me don't get caught up, on that stuff, right? He's like, we're already playing with our life every day. You get caught up and catch a habit on the yard. He's like, it doesn't work out for anybody.
Ends one of two ways.
Yeah, and so I would get high, but only when it was shot to me, like on the strength. You know what I mean? Here you go, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never got strung out. I get some papers and stay up for 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? But I never caught a bad habit or got in debt.
So while you're in there, dibba-dabbing here and there, then you do your time. You come home. How long were you out, and what were you doing at that time? Like, were you still using, or did you get caught in the revolving door effect?
The revolving door. It was, I got out and went, I'd go back to my dad's house in Huntington because he kind of lived that life. He went to prison. He was a biker. He cleaned his life up, started some companies and stuff, became the success story, right? Out of recovery. So he understood in a sense. He let me come back to the house, but you know, I from the gate. You know what I mean? That's what we do, right? And went straight back to, you know, and it got worse each time.
Yep.
Right? Like leading up to that first term, the couple little county times, and then you learn a little bit, you meet some people, and then you graduate and catch a number, and then you meet some more realer people, you know what I mean, that are in the mix a little deeper. And I got out and connected and you know, with a lot of the homeboys, and then crime really started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then violations came.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy because like we were talking about this like not that long ago, that in the early 2000s, we'll say like 2012 and down, the revolving door was like in full effect.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you slipped up, you're going back.
Yeah.
8 months, 9 months, year flat.
Off the top. Yeah.
No matter what you were doing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like
I remember that's when they were doing the 16s with half, like
yeah.
nothing. They're like 16 with half,
16 with
half, and that's what everybody wanted.
Yeah.
Because you would go into the county and like you were praying you didn't get a county lid.
Yep.
Right. You were praying you didn't get a year in the county. You're like, dude, shoot me that 16 with half. Dude.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Take me back. Let me get cinnamon roll Wednesday.
Yep.
And it's like, you know,
pancakes.
The Grand Slam on Sunday.
Yep.
So it's like people really that weren't in that era will probably never really understand the effect that had on people till today.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because some people are still stuck in that mentality of, I can't get out of this because of that standard that was set by the system.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, decisions bring you to those situations, but the way that it is now is so lenient on people who are like breaking the law or using it. I'm not saying send them to jail. What I'm saying is get them help.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just like, all right, slap on the wrist, just go ahead and go back home, and then we'll check in on you again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no accountability.
None.
So there's like no middle ground. There's no gray area. It's either black or it's white, right? So it's either you're going to be locked up for a couple of years or we're not going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such
there's zero resources.
Yeah, it's a sad state to be in, bro. Because it's like, what are we doing to fix the situation?
Nothing.
You know, we have this whole fentanyl epidemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, bro, I see people struggling, and I work in treatment as well as you do, and we see the consistency. The revolving door is different now.
It's insane.
It's just like
it's wild.
There's multiple revolving doors. One's to the morgue, the other one's into a treatment center.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's like the war machine, bro.
It's like a Rolodex. The old school Rolodex.
Yeah, remember those?
Just
a Rolodex is before we had contacts on our phone. You'd be like, he's in an R's.
Yep, you spin it and it would make that clicking noise. Yep, that's old school.
So you did all this, you did your time, did everything you needed to. At what point did you feel like this isn't the life that I want to live anymore and I need to get it straight?
So I felt that way on my second term, you know, in my 20s. But didn't see a way out. Was scared on what that looked like, the repercussions from that lifestyle, what that looked like. And you know, and I saw the game, the scene, I saw it for what it was. You know what I mean? Like, just another person, you know what I mean? And
on the chessboard. You
check out in any way, shape, or form, and it's the next person up.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And everybody's expendable. And they, you know, they would use this this front of you know, family, brothers, for the cause. This is what we're doing. Let's fight this fight. And it was really just you know, a mask for you know, criminal activity and drug addiction. And you know, all my homeboys, they ended up getting got in whatever way they did. It was always by their homeboys. You know what I mean? The closest one to you is the one that's going to get you. And so you know, I saw that for what it was real on my second term, and would think about it a lot in my cell, whether it was in the county or upstate, or even on the streets. Like I didn't want to do it, you know what I mean? But like, I didn't see a way out. I didn't know how to. I was scared, dog.
Yeah.
I was scared, bro. There's a lot of fucking fear. This is the persona that I have developed for myself. This is who I am. This is what I'm gonna be. You know,
My identity.
I'm gonna die in a cellar in the gutter.
Yeah.
You know, going as hard as I can. And these are the cards I was dealt, right? And really not even understanding or knowing that just a couple life choices and changing some of the behavior could set the path for me.
You just said something that like resonated, where people say these are the cards I was dealt.
Yeah, I hate that saying.
I mean, I played pinochle. I played poker.
I fucking love pinochle.
Well, next time you come out, we got to bring you back out. We'll shoot some.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to play that hand, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I got dealt these cards, but am I going to play it?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to play it.
You don't.
You know what I mean? But like, I got to
fold, man.
Yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. You know, and it's like, but we don't think about that, right? And I shared in another podcast was that's how sad of a mentality we have as young men that are hitting these situations and being placed in incarceration and doing all these things. And my mentality of when I walked through those gates and I seen the no warning shots and I seen all that,
No warning shots.
I was like,
port.
yeah. I was like, I made it.
Yeah.
I made it.
You graduated.
I'm here, dude. Like, what's up?
Yeah.
You know, oh, I got it. I'll do it. Oh, that's me. You need to go to the back. I'll be there.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
how deep that rabbit hole goes.
Exactly. And then, you know, you touched on where did that get you though? Like, is my credit score at 850 on the streets?
Yeah, street credit don't pay your bills.
Don't pay my bills. It doesn't get me a lower interest rate on a home loan.
No.
Right. So it's like we touched a little bit on this in before the podcast, and you know, I'm grateful for those older people who were around me at that time that played me close to the chest, and they schooled me and they talked to me and they're like, hey man, this isn't the life, bro. Like, you're gonna do what you're gonna need to do while you're in here, but all this raising your hand stuff, like, you gotta stop. You know, and you gotta stop trying to figure out that you've made it, because this isn't a life, right? And I'm talking to double lifers, a lifer with 130 with enhancements, and ain't never gonna see home again.
No.
And they're just pouring into this kid who has 4 with half, 4 with 80, right? And they're like, bro, like, what are you doing, dude? Go home, you know, and stay home. And so when you started realizing this on your second term, at what point for you as a man did you say, all right, that's enough for me, I'm done? I'm not, all due respect, there's more to my life than this.
So I got out on that second term, obviously, right back in the mix. You know, crime was much more prevalent. The crimes I was committing, a whole hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
Went back, caught another case, and went back in, and you know, still the same thought process, but no, I didn't have the balls. I was scared.
Yeah.
I was scared. When COVID came, right? When COVID started, I caught a case with one of my homeboys, and at that time they were it was G-Ride firearm sales, and got caught at the block in Orange, right there in Orange County. Shout out the block, dude.
Shout out the block.
Or it's called the Outlets now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got caught up there, and because of COVID, and it wasn't violent, right? They were shooting programs, like nothing, right? And I was like, when you went into the county at that time, you had to go to quarantine, and during quarantine in the county during the beginning of COVID, it was free for all. There was no real politics. Everybody was trying to do all the dope they came in with. So, you know, when they got to mainline, they didn't have to break no one off. You know what I mean? So anyways, it was crazy in there. And, I ended up staying in there for I think 8 months on that one. And, they gave me a program, and, I was signed that, right. Got out. They put 9 years over my head, and then, they're like, you need to do a year program, or, you know, you're going back in, you're going up for 9. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do this program, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna get everybody off my back. The same story, right?
Yeah.
Get everybody off my back, and then I
Just leave me alone.
I can go continue on
Yep.
my glorious path
Mm-hmm.
of being a gang member and a fucking junkie, right?
Yeah. Self-destruction.
Yeah. I got out on that, went straight to the homeboys pad, you know, got the front, got everything I needed.
Yeah.
And went in and checked into a motel over in Orange off State College, and started doing my thing, right? Started doing my thing. And by this time I had met who's now my fiance, and we're getting married next week.
Let's go.
Shout out Brittany Burrell.
Shout out Brittany.
And she was sober, you know what I mean? And she stayed with me, and the shit that I put her through, fucking, you know, she's awesome. But yeah, so 2 weeks I would pay for a week at a time at this motel, right?
Yeah.
So I you don't have to wake up, oh shit, I gotta be out,
Yeah.
where am I gonna go? And I was there for about 12 days, I think, doing my thing. And I had an ankle monitor on, so like, of course I'm in a motel room, I'm selling dope,
Yeah.
and I got an ankle monitor on, like just truck shit.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like just dump truck, right?
Just here, let me show up to the police station
Yeah,
with everything. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
But like I found I would hide all my shit good,
Yeah.
right? And my PO at the time, like you know, because I had you know, the gang officers and stuff, they would fucking call me before they came to see me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're coming through, man. And, all right, fucking clean everything up. You know what I mean? You guys got to go. Get out of here, dog. You know what I mean?
Hey, thanks for the memo.
Yeah. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate that. But I remember one of my homeboys, you know, because we used to cook on the back of like a soda can, right?
Yeah.
And on the bottom side, right? And I missed that when I was cleaning up, when my PO was coming through. And, you know, they came through like 5 or 6 deep, right? And he's like, you know, I'm sitting on the bed, and he's like, what's this? And I was like, I don't even know what that is, dude. I don't know where that came from. And he's like, and he looked at me, he's like, look at him. Because I'd already had this same PO and his partner for like the last 12 years. And he's like, I'm you know, they didn't really ever take me in for, excuse me, like using, because their philosophy was, if I'm using and I'm in the mix, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot and catch a real case. Like he wasn't about like, because at this time they're doing 90-day violations, right? And it was just 90 to go in 90 days, go in 90 days, go in 90 days. He's like, no, I'm gonna wait. You'll get some real time. You'll catch something real. Yeah. And he was just like, look, man, I'm not gonna be responsible or feel like I'm a part of you fucking dying. He's like, you need to clean up. You need to go get in this program. This is 2 weeks out, right?
Yeah.
And he never really said that shit to me, so I was like tripping on it. I'm like, fuck, dude, this guy don't give a shit about me.
Yeah.
And he, so he's like, you come in a week. If you test dirty, he's like, I'm gonna violate you. And if you get violated, you know, you're gonna go do that stretch.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll be there, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and had no thoughts of getting clean or anything. You know what I mean? I had, you know, a softball of heroin. You know what I mean? This is when fentanyl was just starting to pick up, so I was still doing heroin at the time. You know, hidden in the room, and you know, I had money. I was good in that aspect of that world. I was all right.
Yeah.
He left. I had no thoughts of changing anything, right? And every night before I would crash out in the room, you know, I had my little ritual, my routine. I would cook up 2 shots, and I would draw one up for right now and go to bed.
Yeah.
And then one for be right there when I wake up with a bottle of water, pound the water, get, you know, my circulatory system going, and then blast off. But went to bed that night, did that issue, went to bed with no thoughts of anything. Woke up in the morning, and it was weird. I remember laying there on the bed in that little shit motel room, and I was staring at the ceiling, and just out of nowhere, I was just like, I don't want to do this no more. You know what I mean? There was no, I can't explain it, man. Everybody's like, my homeboys and shit, like, that are in the program, they're like, that's a spiritual awakening. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it was. You know what I mean? And I was sick already. You know what I mean? Because I was already strung out after only 2.5 weeks being out.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, dude, for the first time in my life, like, because I'd been in and out of AA or in meetings and treatment, but like, it was always ulterior motives to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the first thing I did was I grabbed my phone, I called my girl, and I was like, you need to get down here. She's like, I'm at work. What do you mean get down here? I'm like, no, it's life or death. You need to get down here. And she's like, you better not be fucking playing games. Like, I'm leaving work right now. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I was like, no, please get down here. So she showed up, and I was like, I want to get sober. She's like, fuck up. You know what I mean? This is what you called me for? How many times have we gone through?
We've been down this road.
And I was like, no, for real. I'm like, everything's over there. You know, go do whatever you need to do with it. And of course, still being a junkie, right? She goes to flush all the heroin, and I'm like, don't do that. You know what I mean? So I called a homeboy. He came, picked it up. He's like, what do you want me to do with this? I'm like, just, give me half, bro. Take it, go, bounce. You know what I mean? And she's like, all right, are you really serious about this? Because she knew a lot of people in the Fullerton scene over there. It's a big recovery scene over there. And she's like, if you're serious, I'm going to call my friend, right? Because I didn't have insurance or nothing. I couldn't go to treatment. He owns some sober livings, one in Fullerton, some in Anaheim. And she called him, and she's like, can Adam get a bed? And he started laughing. And he was like, he ain't going to get sober. I'm not bringing that into my pad. She's like, no, please let him get a bed. And I talked to him, and I broke down. You know what I mean? I was like, I need help, dude. And he's like, all right, man, I'm going to help you because that's what we do. But because of your track record, I'm not going to give you a bed. You can post up on the couch, and you go through what you need to go through on the couch, right? You kick on the couch. And I had a pretty bad habit, like, because in Orange County Jail, they give you Suboxone maintenance now. Mm-hmm. So I was on 24 milligrams a day.
Dang.
Yeah. For the 8-9 months I was in there fighting that case, and then went straight back to the needle right when I got out. So I developed a pretty good habit.
Yeah.
So that's what I did, man. I kicked on that couch, shitting, puking, shaking, baking, man.
Yeah.
And praying to God every single day.
Yeah. That's why I said, well, the reason why I said dang, because 24 milligrams is
a lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah.
Average is 8, pushing 12.
Yeah. Yeah, and now being on this side of the fence and working in the treatment industry, like, I know what's ethical, what's not, and what's a proper dosage and stuff like that. You know what I mean? For whether it's a taper or maintenance. Yeah. And I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, how do they justify putting all, like, everybody in there's on Suboxone and Subutex? You know what I mean?
The system is just crazy, bro.
It keeps you in the loop, dude. It keeps you in that mix, man.
Keeps that revolving door greased, bro.
Yeah, it does.
So.
Oh, and then they get in Orange County, when you get out, when you get released, they give you a prescription and the pharmacy to go to right there in Santa Ana to go pick up a month's worth of Suboxone when you get out. It's a literal prescription from a doctor. Doctor writes it for you right when you're getting released. Psh, they hand it to you walking out the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's you know what they call that? You know what the state calls that?
What?
Harm reduction.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's harm reduction.
Yeah.
You're going to use it anyway, so we might as well make it safe.
Yeah.
That's what they call.
My definition and the state's definition of harm reduction are a lot different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So since that spiritual awakening, I'll agree with your homeboys.
Yeah.
You've been sober.
Yes. I just took what's the date today?
Today's the, I don't even know.
11th?
11th, 12th?
I just took 4 years on the 8th.
Come on, Papa, let's go.
Yeah. That's legit 4 years. Weekends, holidays, all that.
Yeah. Holidays, weekends, everything. 3-day weekends, anniversaries, birthdays.
Yep, all of it.
Bro, how do you feel?
Blessed, grateful. You know what I mean? And I know you hear that, people hear that, those two words, a lot. But unless you're in it, you're doing it, you're living it, you're feeling it, You know, a lot of people are like, cheesy, blessed, grateful, you know, what the fuck's it, right? And because I used to sit and say that shit too when I would be at meetings.
Me too.
Right? And I'm like, shut the fuck up, dog. You know what I mean? Like, but there's really no words to explain what that means, what that feels like, unless you've been to hell and came back from the darkness. You know what I mean?
So that's what I was about to say. So we've talked about the darkness. We've talked about what led to your addiction. We talked about your addiction. We talked about the consequences of your addiction. We talked about your wins and your losses. Now let's focus on 4 years. Adam sober, getting his stuff together. Right now, what are you doing that helps your recovery and your sobriety? And just to keep your head level, what is it that you're doing in your life right now?
So, recovery-wise, I do 3 things on a daily basis, right? I remain in conscious contact with my higher power, who I call God. I help other people, and I stay in my lane.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And those 3 things I repeat that every day. And those 3 things have, by the grace of God, allowed me to, accumulate 4 years sober.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then you're also giving back because you work in the field. Case manager.
Yes.
Going to school for your associates?
Yeah, I should have my associates by the fall. Right? Junkie, convict.
Come on, bro.
I got a 4.0 right now, dude.
Sheesh. So, 4.0?
Yeah.
That is, what do they call that? It's well above average.
Yeah.
That's never missing a day. Yeah. Every assignment turned in according to the margin, space, and correct punctuation.
Yeah. It's crazy when I say that too, man. Like, because I in school, I didn't even go to class. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd be in the locker room the whole time. The baseball.
I went to school to hang out.
Yeah. And I would ditch class, but like my high school, all my teachers were my coaches. And I was good at sports. So they
keep you on the team.
They keep me on the team. They pass me. You know what I mean? They'd be like, Adam, stop fucking up. But then I have a good game, and they're like, all right, pass this dude.
Again, we're talking about the system.
Yeah. Jeez. And not realizing then how detrimental that would be down the road. You know what I mean?
And I've talked about it, and other people have talked to me about it. It's like, hey, but like back in our day, like I had Fs and I had like 40 absences in a class, and I still passed.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that even possible?
Dude, I used to, like, because they had security guards out of school, like, because I lived in the neighborhood across the street, I'd be walking through the parking lot when class, like, the bell just rang for class start, and the security guards are on their golf carts, right? And they're like, Adam, you need to go to class, where are you going? And I'm just like,
yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, I'll see you on your next round.
Yeah, they'd pull up in front of my house because I live across the street, and they're like, we could smell the weed, and I'm just like, don't do something about it. Right? You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy. So, congratulations again on your 4 years.
Thank you.
I wish you a lifetime of happiness with your girl and your upcoming wedding. So congratulations on that, brother. That's beyond amazing and blessed. He who finds a wife finds a good thing.
A partner in everything, man.
That's it.
You know what I mean? To grow and grind and ups and downs, and I embrace it all, and I love it. The challenges, the changes, moving through, I love it.
My wife is my biggest fan, my biggest motivator.
Yep.
I'm feeling down. She's like, nah, bro, you're better than that. Get up.
Right. And vice versa.
Exactly.
Like it's, we pick each other up.
Exactly.
I mean? And
so with a great podcast, we went over by a lot.
Oh shit.
And look at, what did I tell you about the time when we started?
You started chopping it up.
So we're going to find the flow, bro. And if it goes, it goes.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, somebody out there needs to hear this. And this is why I don't mind the time.
Awesome.
But this is where we're at. We're at the end of this podcast. We're going to wrap it up. But this is a moment when I give you as much time as you need, bro. Speak from the heart. Give somebody some hope. Give somebody some faith that if you can make it, they're no different. They can make it too. This is your camera. Go ahead and take it away, Adam.
All right. I just want to reach out and tell everybody that living in fear, because that was me. It's all fear, and fear leads to hopelessness. But there's always hope. There's always a way out. Don't be scared to ask for help. As hard as that is sometimes, that's really the only way out. There is a solution. There's a way. We do recover. Latch on to some people in your life that are doing things and have things that you want, and embrace the difficult times, because it's going to get hard, and it's going to stay that way until you make that psychic change to change your life, change the behaviors, humble yourself, surrender. There's so many men and women out there that have gone through similar paths that you have taken, and you're not alone. You're not alone. You are loved. And if nobody told you today, I love you, you know what I mean? Find a connection with the higher power of your understanding, and get in the solution. Identify, accept solution in everything you do. God bless.
So that was good. That was really good, man. Thank you for that. Again, thank you for coming out and sharing your story, brother. I appreciate it.
Right on.
Appreciate you taking out the time and making the drive out here. Somebody out there is gonna hear this story, bro, and then you'll be like, "Yo, I've been there and I'm doing that now." And
if I can do it, you can do it.
That's it. That's it.
If we can do it, you can do it.
That's it. So once again, using my story, my name is Samuel. If you guys need any help, if you guys are struggling with mental health or substance abuse, hit our link below. We do offer transitional living, and we do offer treatment. So make sure you guys hit us in the DMs if you guys want to see a different subject matter, or if you guys want to see a special guest that we could reach out to and have them come on here and share their story, or even if it's you and you want to share your story, just make sure you guys slide it into our DMs and let us know what's going on. And we just wish you all the best. And just remember, you're not alone. We've been there. We've done that. We've made it. So can you. So until next time, using my story, we'll see you next time.